Hey, good evening and welcome to tonight's show. We are back once again after a week off.
I know. I'm so well rested.
You do. You look very well rested.
Brian, Jay had a week off. We were here.
Yeah, Brian and I were here last week.
Oh yeah, you guys had to work.
Yeah, we pulled the marathon, basically doing the whole show. Tonight we're going to hit a topic. This is one that people have been bringing up off and on, and we're gonna hit topic. We're going to do this for a little bit, and then we're going to go to some other things. So this isn't going to take the whole time. But guys, what they've been struggling with is, and this is something that's happened forever, is we have our contract, and we contract with a person of the event, and then there comes this situation of who is the one to make the decisions, who is the one to give us guidance, who is the one to put those limits in front of us when it comes to, let's say, weddings, because that's what a lot of us do. That's what we're going to kind of dig into. So first up, when you write a contract, wedding contract, Brian, who do you typically have as the ones listed on a contract as the contracted party?
You know, it used to be the parents, but lately it seems like it's been, if we're talking weddings here, lately it seems like it has been the bride and groom who are on the contract.
Do you typically do both, or do you do one or the other?
Usually one or the other.
Okay. How about you, Jay? What are you doing with that?
I haven't put a parent on a contract in probably, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah,
and it was only then because they specifically were hiring me for their daughter's wedding. So it was the mother of the bride, and I said, well, for the contract, she goes, they're both in Ohio. We're out here in California. And I said, how do you want me to do the contract? She goes, I'll give you their names, but I'm going to be paying it. So just put my address and, care of me. And I said, okay, because I want their names for the contract and she was fine with that. So it was, Sally Smith, care of, for these two people that were daughter and son-in-law. But today, 100% bride and groom.
Yeah, and I've also been finding that, and Brian, you mentioned one of the others typically what you have, and this is an area in which I've actually had some problems as events have canceled over the last 6 months. Is that I have, as an example, the bride, and it actually happened last year with the 2019 wedding. Is I had the bride was the one who signed the contract. The bride is the one who sent in the retainer. The groom is the one who sent in the cancellation notice and was wanting to get the retainer back. How have you guys been handled in that situation? If you've had that pop up, I mean, how do you deal with, or how would you deal with that situation?
I have not had a pop up. Just full disclosure on this one. I haven't had a problem, but I've been a pretty easy guy to work with for anybody who wants to reschedule or do something different. No, I haven't had an issue yet. I'm sorry I can't contribute to this one, but it's been good so far.
Mm-hmm. JV,
all my clients have gone, either postponed, even on cancels. They've always come at me as kind of the two that are on the contract. It's the rare contracts that I even send out just the groom, with the understanding I'm getting the bride's information later, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. I really strive to have them both on this because I want not only them to feel as though they're both involved, because they are, but I also want that sense of accountability that it's the three of us discussing their DJing.
And they mentioned, with the having the multiple, there have been times where that retainer check has come from a mother. And it's like trying to figure out. In the last year's situation, they ended up breaking up because there was some hanky-panky going on behind the scenes.
Like it matters why, but okay, cool.
Exactly, it does. This is part of it. Because of that, that's why the groom was coming and wanting to get the money back, is because it was her situation and she was the one that caused the breakup, whatever. But if it's a check from the bride, or if it's a check from the groom, or if it's a check from the parents, when you're going back and refunding money this way is gets to be kind of a hairy or an unusual situation, because who do you cut that check to?
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say that if it were to come up where I had a contract signed by a future bride, and say, for instance, his mother paid the deposit by check, she would be entitled to a refund, but the bride would not be.
I agree.
As far as I was concerned, why would I refund somebody money who never paid me money? It's like,
I
if
agree.
the check was made out, this person made the check out, so I'll give them money back, but I can't give you money back.
Yeah.
And
That's how I think I would handle it.
and that's exactly how I have handled it when it comes in, and I basically am logging everything, the check address, I take a picture of the check for one thing, but it's, if I have to do a
Right.
refund with that, it's going to go back to the exact same name on the account that it came from.
Right.
And
Now here's where it gets hairy. And I said this on Sunday. This past Sunday, I had a wedding, and the father of the groom had paid me the deposit back in February.
Mm-hmm.
And a week ago or so, I hit up the groom and I said, what were you going to do as far as the final balance due? It's actually due tomorrow. Just wanted to, because you've got a lot going on, planning this and that, but I want you to be in the loop. And his comment was, oh, my dad's going to take care of that. I said, okay, cool, no problems. And from that, I went to 3 days later. Do you know if he mailed it? Or he goes, yeah, I just found out that he didn't mail it. So he'll pay you at the wedding. I'm like, okay, no problem. Showed up at the wedding and paid me. Now, the reason I bring this up is because, as I said to his father, you're the second client in the last probably 13 or 14 months who's given me a check. Everything's been Venmo. So the question to you, John, becomes, you have Jack and Diane sends you a Venmo for a deposit and then cancels because Jack cheated on Diane. Do you just indiscriminately refund the Venmo to Diane?
And
because you have no other channel to go down.
Yeah, and I've had that experience with this year with PayPal with a couple of the weddings where they booked, and it's just gone back. Now, there wasn't that type of a thing. It was just that they couldn't have the wedding that they were wanting to do, and we decided that was the way to go. Those become tricky when you get a year and a half out.
Yeah,
that becomes
absolutely.
a real thing. And even with PayPal today, 6 months ago, if I would have refunded the things with PayPal, it would have been PayPal would have said, oh yeah, we'll refund the fees if it's only within a window, 30, 60, whatever days, 90 days. Now, if I take a deposit or retainer, and if I have to refund it within a month, there's no grace period anymore. It's like, oh, your PayPal fees are gone. So now if you want to give them the full money back, you're going to have to basically ante up some additional money. So just by taking and refunding a retainer, unfortunately, now we're going to lose money. So
I had a bride pay me with a check about a month ago, and I deposited the check, and I, lo and behold, go online. I get this flash from my bank. The check bounced.
yeah.
So I immediately contacted the bride and I said, hey, I'm really sorry to let you know this, but the check was given back for insufficient funds. Oh, I'm so sorry. So let's say that the amount was $1,000. So I send her a new bill. She goes, do you take, Apple Pay? I'm like, hold on. Go online, get Apple Pay set up. I'm like, yes. Send her a thing for $1,035. She goes, I thought it was only $1,000. I said, the 35 is actually what my bank charged me because there were insufficient funds. She goes, they do that? Now, the point of this is we're in a different realm. Like, let's go around the room real quick. In the last 30 days, how many physical with a pen checks have you written, John?
2.
Brian?
I haven't written a check in 9 years.
Because you're a millennial, and that's why.
Yeah.
Because I lost my
damn
writing
young.
hand due to a stroke.
Don't try to top what I said. I was funny, and you went above. This shaky crap doesn't work.
No, this one doesn't work anymore. That was right dominant. So yeah, I don't. I sign my name. That's all I do. But no, I haven't done a paper check in years.
Yeah, I've written one. So
Yeah.
when you view
It's
it,
weird when I get a personal check.
Yeah,
no, it
very much
is.
so.
and it's amazing now with my phone how, as I've been able to do for quite a while, if you were to hand me a check, I can just go, look at this, I took a photo. That's really cool, until Venmo showed up, and I'm suddenly like, wait a second, hey Brian, how much was the tab? $150 just for your drinks. Oh, okay. I had a Coke. Well, here, let me send you 80 or whatever the split was that night.
Yeah.
Howie
And
Darkstar, who is 97 years old, even he says, "What are checks?" in the chat room. And while we're at it, I want to say hello to some people because we don't do that sometimes, and we probably should.
Yeah, we should.
So hello to Trevor, aka Scratha, over in Melbourne, Australia.
Good day, mate.
Freddie, JC's in the room. We have Eternal Lighting with us tonight. How exciting! Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ray and others. There are others here too. I'm scrolling up. Fly Robin's here. How nice.
I was going to say, there's no way Robin's not here.
Mr. Cowley's here. Not the guy from the Ozzy Osbourne song, just John from Boston.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool people in the room tonight.
Excellent.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging out with us.
wasn't that Aleister Crowley? That whole, like, the thing Jimmy Page and Ozzy were both into, the Mr. Crowley? I think that's
Perhaps.
Aleister.
You
Think so.
yeah.
I'm much more that dark side.
Yeah,
That's
the dark
actually
side.
I
probably
remember that
the only
song
place
off of-
you're not going to argue with me.
I think the song, what was it, off of perhaps it was either Blizzard of Oz or Diary
was
of a
Blizzard.
Madman. Mr. Crowley.
That's Blizzard. Yeah.
Heard it a lot. Had
Wow,
the
I
tape.
might actually have a place where I can top Brian. So now, immediately, let's change subjects.
Yes, let's get back to our topic.
I have to keep going here for a moment because if I don't keep going now, Jay will take over again, and it'll be over, and I'll lose my thought. So I have to do this thing.
And then I have a
Have
thought,
to.
too.
It's relevant to what we're talking about, kind of, sorta. What
Mine
we're
is.
talking about is money and deposits and who signed the contract and who wrote
Yes.
the check. What I want to talk about for a moment, and I don't want to dwell on this, but I ran into a situation several years ago where it was a matter of who's actually in charge of being the shot caller at events.
And there's
Because-
that's where we're headed to next.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to catch your thunder.
No,
Wow.
you're doing well. You're doing well. This is exactly how we're going to wrap this segment up. Is we've talked about the money side of it.
I have to interrupt just before we start to that.
course
I
you do.
just want to say this: the old days,
Yeah.
when I would meet with bride, groom, mother of bride, or mother of groom, or both mothers. It was quite often a few years ago where you'd meet with four people. This is my mom. Oh, it's my mom. I'm like, hey, mom, nice to meet you. Hey, mom, nice to meet you. Jennifer and Sally, whatever. And I would go through my meeting setup, and I would get to the music, and I would say I have three lists. Yes, yes by request, and no. Yes is obviously songs you want. Yes by request is, we really don't want to hear Cupid Shuffle, but if people request it, by all means, feel free to play it. No is an absolute. And I would look at the bride and groom and say, and I'll show you how this works. Let's say, Jennifer, your mom comes up and requests YMCA, and you say no. I'm going to tell your mom I don't have it. And the moms would look at me and say, but you do have
plug my
it.
phone
I'm
in?
like, no, I do have it. But you're not going to play it for me? I'm like, no. And they're like, but we're paying you. I'm like, I think the greatest joy I could possibly provide you on the day of your daughter or son's wedding is to do exactly what they want so that they can have the greatest wedding they've ever wanted. Because obviously you had one, because look at what you created. And that has never, ever been questioned. Go ahead, John, whatever you had to say.
So as I was saying before, I
true.
yielded to the man from Temecula. I was talking about how sometimes you end up with, and John, it's happened to John, because John knows exactly what I'm talking about. You'll do the meeting with, if it's a wedding, the couple getting married plus a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Like in
And
a
then
barn.
maybe the parent gives you the deposit, or maybe the couple does. It doesn't matter. At any rate, it's happened to me many times where I've been at a wedding and I assume for some reason that mom or dad is a shot caller for some reason.
Yeah.
I've learned by trial and error that you never assume that.
Nope.
Sometimes mom wants to do something that her daughter wants nothing to do with. And it's the daughter's wedding and she's a shot caller. However, if mom paid and mom's name's on the contract,
Why? It's not her wedding.
but she paid for it.
I don't
She's
care. It's not her
technically-
wedding.
But she's my client.
No, she's not. The bride and groom is the wedding you're
No,
doing.
they're not. That would be like saying if you hired a DJ for Connor's birthday when he was 10, Connor would be in charge and you wouldn't. So if Connor said play I think WAP by Cardi B and you're like, I really don't want to do that.
Nope. By the way, Sunday night
It would be okay. Well, Connor said play it.
This is
he's in charge. He's 10.
No. Yeah, but you're and to your example, to be honest with you, when you view it that way, when you say that's a kid's birthday versus two adults getting married. I gotta go with the respects to, and like I said, I've always said to the parents very respectfully, you know what? You want the best possible day, don't you? Oh, absolutely. You want them to be so happy. Yes, we do. Well, here's the best way to achieve that. I will do all I can to make sure that everything flows. But if you've got this thing about Cupid Shuffle and they can't stand it, don't you want to see them just smile the whole day? Do we really want to wait 3 minutes for them not to be happy? And I think when you explain it that way, even the pay understands, meaning the bank, meaning the person writing the check.
John,
you
what do
don't.
you say
How
about
many
this?
times have you done a party where you don't agree with everything? Come on.
What do you have to say about this, John?
This is the tough area, and this is really the premise of tonight's show. The discussion is that when I have the parents who have signed a contract, I have the parents who have put the money into the thing because the kids were out of town. There's going to be a level of parent influence of what's going on. There just unfortunately has to be, and I think part of the reason why there is because if the parents have to do that much work, that generally means that the kids are either maybe the reception wasn't that big of a deal to them, or maybe they just haven't had the time to put into it and they're going to just let mom and dad deal with it, putting it together.
Right.
Or it was mom and dad's party. We really didn't want to have a dance. I mean, that's been one I've had numerous times. Yeah, we were just going to get married and have a little, backyard thing, but mom and dad really wanted to have a party for the family. So here we are.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say I found that within the ethnic communities too, it's a little different, which I think, I experienced quite a bit here with things like, I don't know, a quinceañera, which is a lot like a bar mitzvah, where the parents throw it, and most of the people at the event aren't kids. Mm-hmm. They're business associates and neighbors and people from church, like adults, are attending this thing, and it's kind of a show of wealth from the parents and maybe less about the 15th birthday. I mean, who does that?
The same thing with bar mitzvahs.
Exactly.
You've got the kid that's celebrating, and I totally get that. But are we talking all contracts or weddings? Because if we're talking weddings, I disagree.
Well, it's contract
all
period.
contracts.
I mean,
Yeah, but
from
then
an
it's
ethical point of view. I mean, do what you want to do, but if someone's paying me, I'm going to be nice.
No. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to have Jimmy, the 13-year-old's bar mitzvah kid, dictate everything over his parents. I did a bar mitzvah back in January at the largest club in San Diego. There was a drummer, me, and an MC for 3 hours, to the point where they closed the club for the night on a Saturday. This was a $50,000-$60,000 party, not counting food or booze. And literally, I had the parents telling me every other song to play. Oh, can you mix this in? And I'm playing like literally new Cardi B. And they're like, hey, we need some, Huey Lewis. And I'm like, okay, Power of Love. How does that work with like finesse? Like, okay, I'll pitch it way up. Boom, Power of Love. Like, I think with weddings, at least, that's a sacred thing. You have a bride and groom. Somebody else pays for it. What if the grandmother pays? You're going to talk to the grandmother and be like, I think, more Glenn Miller.
I have to cut you off because we have Christian Bedke in the room.
Oh, okay. Then I will be quiet.
I just wanted you to be aware of that because I'm monitoring the chat.
If Pulse is here, I'm quiet.
Pulse is here. Christian is our friend Pulse.
And Christian, as I if I'm reading this correctly, is so excited about Cardi B and wanting to be able to play.
Look what I have, Christian.
I know
Look at this.
Christian loves Cardi B.
Yep.
For a fact. So before anyone else says anything, I just want the floor for 30 seconds and I'll shut up.
You got it.
So
Do I
I
need to?
found a way around this because it was a problem. Because I wasn't really sure which way to go sometimes. I would make assumptions one way or the other, and it was the wrong assumption. Either I blow the parents off and they really get upset with me and not throw that tip my way because I didn't do what they wanted to do, or
I
vice
get that.
versa. So in meetings, when the parents are involved, I will ask who's in charge. And maybe they'll say, oh, well, the kids, it's the kids thing. Let them do whatever they want. Or maybe they'll say, well, I'm paying. And then the kids are just like, oh, leave mom alone.
That's when you say, you know what? I think I'm booked on that day.
You've already signed the contract at this point. I don't mind. And it's not usually a thing where, I mean, you know, the truth be told, no matter which direction it goes, I always try my best to be the advocate of the guest of honor, whoever they happen to be, whether it's the bride or groom or it's the birthday party person or whatever. I always try to be their advocate to find out kind of what they want for their event, and I'll stick up for them because I've had some overbearing moms. Oh, well, I don't like that. Well, I don't like this. Well, here's why. Oh, okay, whatever, fine if you have to, I guess.
Well, like you say, if you want to be the advocate, you simply say to them, is your goal the same as mine? Because my goal is to see that your daughter and her future husband have the greatest wedding of all time. And 100% they go, no, of course that's my goal. Okay, then let's discuss this and find a place where we can all achieve the same goal.
I've had some controlling weirdos.
Well, I've had a couple bridezillas, but I've still had to say to them,
I'm talking about the mothers.
Yeah.
no, I am too. Where I've had to look at them and they're the bridezilla because the bride's fine. And I've looked at them and they've said, so if I come up to you at the wedding and ask for this, you won't play it? I'm like, no.
I remember trying to do a timeline for a client where I was telling them, hey, look, you know, I see everything you want to do, and there's a lot of stuff. And dinner is at 6, and you know, we have all these things we need to do. If we do them the way you're suggesting, we're not going to have our first dance until 9:30. So I'm suggesting you do it this way. That way we have a lot more dance time. And you know,
9:30. The wedding's done at 9:45. How could you even do that?
Well, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Just like Christian, our friend Paul's, you guys suffer the weddings go till 1 a.m. routine.
Well, you're the wine country 10 o'clock. We're pumping this guy.
My wedding.
But at any rate, the mother pipes in
9:48.
and says, to go back to what I was saying before. What are you going to do? The mom says, well, I don't want to rush it. I'm not rushing this. I'm paying a lot for this dinner. I'm not rushing this dinner. Like, I'm not rushing dinner. Just please understand that. I'm just trying to put things in an order where there's not a lot of dead space. But I'm not going to make you hurry up and eat your food.
No.
But if, you know, it's so, I mean, I've had some like that. So I guess once bitten, twice shy on this stuff. I really try to be careful and watch those landmines. But I do ask who's in charge. John?
Oh, exactly. That's the way I handle the situation is that really, even no matter who is on the contract nowadays, because most of the time, as we say, it's the bride and groom, but it's mom who's written the check out and mom's giving them the money. And it's a fair question to ask. It's like, okay, so there's going to be some things, you know, we're going to lay out the activities for the day, but there are going to be some things that we're going to need to kind of talk about the night of, whether it's a change in time, something's running late. Who's going to be the one to make calls? If there's got to be a call made on changing something, who would be the one to do that? And generally it comes out, you know what, mom's kind of wanting to put things together. She's the one in charge. But that way, in front of all of them, the discussion's been like, hey, yeah, well, you know, talk to us about it.
Do you know who's also a pain in the butt sometimes and we have to run damage control on? And by asking this question, it takes care of it. They're not even at the meeting. Freaking bridesmaid.
I was going to say that matron of honor.
Maid of honor.
The college maid of honor.
The bride said this.
Who knows how much the bride loves NWA and loves to hear Eazy-E at the wedding.
Yes.
And she told me, and the other night, and
Mhm.
one time in Mexico, and this time in college. Yeah, no.
I really feel like by asking that,
I'm really, I don't know if you guys are good at this, but I'm really good at deflecting. Like, I have no issue, dude. I've done like 6 weddings while WAP has been out. I haven't played it. Like, WAP's not WAP, whatever. I'm not playing it. Like, I don't
I
care.
haven't played it either.
No, and I've had 6 opportunities to play it, and every one of them I've been like, oh man, totally wish I had that track. That
I
thing's
think I've
bumping.
only had 2, but yes, it's.
I've had 6, and I'm like, no. Like,
How
it's
many
my
weddings have you
wedding.
had since WAP came out, Jay?
6.
Oh, cool. Right on.
I've just hey, up in John
I had
country,
a
Jason Yoshino country. There's been like 8,000 weddings apparently, according to Instagram. But so anyway,
conversation with my friend Art the other night
Mhm.
because Art
Good
used
guy.
lights, and he said, "Man, well, early in the week he said that WAP song, man, I don't have a clean version of that. So, well, there's clean versions available. They have it on promo only. The download. It's like, okay."
it's the sound of, I think it's white noise, isn't it?
And then Friday,
Yeah.
he would text me. He's like, "Man, I can't do it. I can't do it." I'm like, "Then just say you don't have it and you can't plug their phone in, and it's over."
Mm-hmm.
Done.
But it's a problem.
I mean, but it's sort of what we're talking about. Like, you have an event to do, and I'm going to be blunt. I've had 2 or 3 moms call me after weddings to say that a friend was getting married and they'd like me to be the DJ, or here's the direct hookup, or whatever it is. I've had a lot more brides and grooms from weddings that have been really happy with me. Either call me, text me, email me, or give me their names to somebody else. I think when it's all said and done, with the exception of weddings, you're working for that client, meaning at a wedding, it's the bride and groom. Yeah, mom may have paid, but I'm sorry.
I love
so
Christian. Christian's so funny.
What's going on?
Chat. He's with me. He's asking if it was 6 weddings you've done since the swap as well. He's just making sure it was 6.
Yeah, it was 6.
I
Trying to
believe
make
it's
sure.
6.
Yeah, something like that.
Sure. I have a 3,000 here.
What's up, Bill
You know
Marsh?
that?
Good to see you.
Bill
And
Marsh
Gus?
didn't have internet
Gus
last
is in the
night.
room.
He's in.
He's
Good
back,
for Bill.
yes.
Jimmy Spin is here. He
Of
just
course,
got
Jimmy's
home.
here. Jimmy's the
All kinds of
man.
people here. I don't even know what I was going to say. It doesn't
I
matter.
work for the bride and groom. I don't work for the mom and dad, even if they paid me. And because at that point they're hiring me. What are you hiring me to do? Make my daughter happy, make my son happy, do whatever. I don't think when it's all said and done, you should go to them and say, hey, they want me to do dancing now. Should I? Where do you draw the line? So at a wedding, unless they're crazy kids, and I've had a couple where literally they were like, just tell us what to do. We don't know. And that's okay. But for the most part, make it the dream wedding that somehow they've always wanted, and that the mom and dad facilitated by hiring you to use your skill and talent to make that dream come true.
Ultimately, yes. I mean, but there have just been situations that have come up professionally where I have to find out. I need a definitive answer who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to ask
But
that
when? Was it at the event?
at the meeting.
At the meeting time, yeah.
I think when you
But
sit
what
down
do
with
you-
these people.
I'm not getting this at all, so I'm not being a jerk. Just tell
Okay.
me, like, in the context of the meeting, what do you say that you need a definitive answer where you need them to split and say, oh, I'll tell you what to do that day? Like,
I don't beat around the bush. Who's in charge? Is it? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, when it comes down to your wedding and there are calls to be made and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, we want this. Who's in charge? Is it you? Is it? Oh no, we're in charge. Okay, that's cool. Then that's who's in charge. So no bridesmaids. I had a situation one time I can remember. It was an Indian wedding I did, and it wasn't a mixed wedding. It was a straight up Indian wedding, and I had strict what do you want to call it?
Protocol,
What am I looking for?
request?
Strict instructions.
Instructions.
I'm a little tired tonight. Sorry. That I was not to speak to either one of them that night. I was only to speak to either the maid of honor or the best man, because they were in charge. Yeah, it was weird. I'd never had that before, but something about the culture, they just didn't want to be bothered by me and they didn't want to be bothered with details. Just talk to these people and they will tell you everything. If we have something to tell you, we'll tell them and they'll tell you, do not speak to us.
You want the truth? I wouldn't have booked it. I wouldn't have booked it.
It was already booked and I
would have found, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met, well, let me ask you this on topic, a little bit off. Have you met with clients that in the meeting gave you such rules and regulations that you decided not to book them? I've had 3 where they literally said in the meeting, and by the way, don't speak in the mic. We don't want to hear from you. You just play the music, do your thing. I'm like, oh, well, do you want me to announce first dance or you're coming in? And the groom specifically was like, hey, dude, do me a favor. Just kind of keep your mouth shut and do your thing and we'll be good. Needs to say, this mouth, I can shut it. Watch.
I've had the question where they have said
it was just shut. Outside of that,
yeah.
Not if you're going to pay me and you want to ruin your day.
Stop talking. I've had the question where they've said, how much do you talk on the mic? And my response to that is as little as possible.
Me too.
And they're like, cool. Like that's all they needed to hear. So if there's something to be said, I say it as quickly as and clearly and concise as I can, but I'm not that guy that just gets on the mic and arbitrarily talks. Unless
Believe
I'm
it or
on
not,
the show
me
on
neither.
Tuesday night.
Ask Christian. He's done a wedding with me. I literally, at a wedding, speak as little as is humanly possible. It's not my day.
I think one of my kids are here. I'll go see them when we're done. Something I was going to say, and it was.
Is that the sound of an axe head dragging down the stairs?
That's a 115-year-old squeaky floor with probably.
Yes. Oh, sounded like an axe head.
22-year-old walking around is what I'm.
Like a Blair Witch Part 7 or something.
It could be Genie. I can't tell their voices apart anymore. It's either my brown kid or my white kid. I don't know which one it is. It's one or the other. They're color coded. But yeah, there's kids here. I don't know which one. Maybe both. Who knows?
Oh, John's still here.
I am. I'm just.
There he is.
Just following along. Just kind of.
You know what? One sentence, real deal. I work for a bride and groom. That's regardless who's paying me, that's who's in charge. That's it.
And I would say probably a quarter of the weddings I do, the couple and the parents, it's not for the bride and groom because it is the parents are the ones who are more. It was for the parties for them and their friends. The bride and groom are there to be part of it, but it's not. Especially the ones where it's more of it becomes a destination event that the kids are living in New York or living internationally. These things have happened in the last few years. And now they're coming back to have the reception here for the local family. That's happened numerous times. The matron of honor or maid of honor was a big thing at one time. I haven't had that in a long, long time. I still have more of the who's going to make the ultimate call when something happens, because the mom in the meeting, you can start to get the feeling as mom saying, well, you should do a dollar dance. You should do this. And after that period of time, that's when you can ask the questions like, okay, there's going to be some things that happen. Who's going to be the one to make, should I bring things to make a call if there's something that's got to be changed? If I don't have that, if I don't feel like my upcoming wedding here in a couple of weeks, it's all bride and groom. They're the ones that I'm working with. I haven't met the parents and they haven't had any communication. So I'm not too concerned about that. Right. But there are times where I have the mother who's reaching out and saying, hey, John, we want to book you. We've seen you. My kids are going to be coming back and we'd love to talk when they get back and we can do these things. Then if the things line up right, the question has to be asked, because I've seen enough of those to know that, okay, I'm okay in creating the event in a fun atmosphere for everyone. It's just as Jay, you've used the phraseology of the dream wedding for that couple. The dream wedding for that couple might be exchanging rings and going right to the honeymoon because that's what they're interested in. They're not interested in the rest of that, and that's cool, and I'm okay with that. But mom and dad wanted to have a chance to celebrate their kids getting married. So
I'll be honest, it's been so long since it came up. It was years ago, and it was actually a great wedding, and it was 250 people at a golf course in El Cajon, California. and it's now coming back to me because now it totally makes sense. It was Brian, Cascade, our friend from American DJ Lighting, Drax. You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
It was a certain sect / religion wedding. So it was a huge group, not a long wedding. And the couple was 19 and 18. And I'd met with the mother, who was lovely, and instead of centerpieces, ordered more lights. And you've seen that famous gazebo shot I have. That was that wedding. I used every light I had and every light I could borrow in San Diego. One of the biggest weddings I've ever done. And the reason it stands out is because after the wedding, I went up to the bride and groom after the first dance, parents dance, little dancing, and they said, "How long do we have to be here? Can we leave?" And I'm like, "Well, this ends at 10. It's like 8 o'clock." And what I didn't take into consideration was they wanted to leave because they were now husband and wife. And they didn't know what that meant. So they wanted to leave. And it finally dawned on idiot me going like, "What's the big deal? You have 2 hours to dance and party." And they're like, "No, we really want to go." And I'm like, "Oh." So
You gotta be careful with that.
yeah.
I had something like that similar last weekend.
For real.
Yeah, they were really nice people, and I really wasn't aware of. They were doing like, okay, there's no alcohol. I get that.
There was no alcohol at mine.
But it's a campground. It's not allowed on campground, so that was okay. But yeah, they wanted to have a sparkler send off relatively early, like Temecula time of wedding's over is what time my wedding was over.
Ours ended about 7. They started 5. So I mean, I'm in and out of there pretty quick.
They started about 6:45, and they ended about 10 after.
Yeah.
25 minutes.
You and
That's
Christian
good.
in Canada started 1. They ended 4 the next afternoon. I totally understand that now.
But
No,
yeah,
yeah,
it was. I in fact, I think I don't know. John and I didn't have the.
They wanted to erotic city, which I did not understand till it came clean to me, and I'm like, "Oh, I get it." We did garter bouquet, anniversary, honeymoon, like literally in 10 minutes, and they bounced, and we ended the wedding an hour early. And
I had this conversation with B Diddy. That's who I had the conversation with. So I was
That's
telling him about the
it was
wedding.
his
I said,
people.
no, it wasn't his people. It was
No, the one that I had, it was his
Oh,
people.
right.
Mine, yeah.
But I was just telling him it was just it was a group of very nice people, but I don't think I've heard people say Jesus more than a dozen times in a 30-second time span more than I did that night. Like, it was just every other word was Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You did a great job. We love you, and we love Jesus, and Jesus loves you too.
Right.
Thanks. What do you say to that? Okay. Yeah, it was just different, and I was fine with it, but.
But I love that. I love the diversity because it gives you another opportunity to do which. That's the beauty of being a wedding DJ versus a club. If you're a house club DJ, guess what? You're playing house. If you're a hip hop club DJ, you're playing hip hop. You do weddings, you're all over the map, and every wedding is different. It's not always this. You can't just show up and say, "This is what I do." And when you get the diversity of groups and you get the age diversity, especially a couple weeks ago, they're coming up going like, "We want WAP," and I'm like, "Nah, I don't have it." It's like, we need some ratchet. And you could see the girl was about to go open her mouth again to explain to I'm in my early 20s, so it was odd that she would have to explain ratchet to me. But I'm like, I got you. How about City Girls twerk? She's like, "Oh, you get it." I'm like, yeah, I'm on board.
We got to have Christian on next week. He is killing me in the comment section.
Oh,
and one of the moderators has been deleting comments he makes once in a while, and it's like, please don't delete those comments. They are so funny.
No. You have by the way, I'm going to say,
I would love to have him on
in public. When this grows to the level that I know it's going to, kind of like the ESPN of the DJ music world, and John's just the Vince McMahon in his office doing his thing. What I would like to see is you, me, and Christian just go to shows and do color commentary. Like, just put us at a table.
Mystery Science
and we
Theater
sit
DJ
there.
version.
And it's
Like
like, guys,
football.
exactly. Science Search 3000, that's exactly what we could do. Dude, check it out. He just
Yeah.
bought those. He doesn't even know how to mix. Like, we could totally do this. And if it's technical, Christian. Hey, Christian, I just happened to notice we're trapped in the building because the power's gone out. Oh, please, Jay, give me your vape. And Brian, give me that thing you have over there. And I've got a tweezer. Watch. Whoa, how'd the roof come off? Yeah.
I gotta talk to Mitch about getting you on volume before you go on the show.
Is this too loud?
My friend, holy shit,
Dude,
you are
I get this complaint
you
all
are
the time.
fire tonight. Wow.
No. Gee, I'm on record telling you, my wife is constantly, you're way too loud. You're way too loud. I'm now bringing the voice down.
I think we're pretty decent. It's even.
I think I've changed, and now I would like to just talk about. I'm going to kind of Bob Ross this from this point forward, if we could. I'm going to Bob Ross a little bit.
You know, Wick.
It's a happy tree. It's a happy tree.
It's a happy. So to summarize tonight's show, the contract, whoever's name is on a contract may or may not be the one that's ultimately wanting to make the decisions. It's going to
I
really
think they should, though.
It's going to be really up to you to find out who is the one so you can avoid problems the night of. If you're going to just make assumptions, sometimes an assumption can make you or put you in a really difficult spot. So find out if you see red flags, ask questions. It's better to ask questions in advance than to make a mistake.
Real quick question. Along the way, do you guys build, because I certainly try to build a relationship with the clients, meaning the bride and groom. Like this weekend's wedding on Sunday, I had met with the bride and groom back in February. I'd had several back and forth emails, talking music, this and that. And then the last 2 weeks, I said, hey guys, we're still good to go. Yes. Great. Really want to finalize things. I'll give you the choice. We can do a Zoom meeting. We can talk on the phone. We can do it via text or email. What works best for you? Actually, you know what? We'd love a quick Zoom meeting. Okay, let's do that. Did a quick hour and a half Zoom, got a lot accomplished, made a lot of notes in an email, sent it to them. We were on the same page. Then they filled in the gaps. Then we came back this week and I said, hey guys, on Monday, there's a few things I'm still needing. What's the best way to get this done? Do you want to talk real quick today or tomorrow? Actually, you know what? Tomorrow would work. Great. Let's talk Tuesday. Tuesday morning, make a phone call, finished it. Their perception at the wedding on Sunday was, man, we really appreciate you like changing up at the end. It meant a lot to us, the fact that you were willing to change things we'd already talked about. I'm like, guys, I could change it at the wedding, but it just makes more sense to know going into it what to expect from you. Like, you should have expectations that get met or exceeded, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's important. And that's why I always feel the bride and groom at a wedding should be the people in charge. Like, I've worked with a ton of coordinators. There are some amazing coordinators I know in San Diego, Temecula, LA. But for the most part, the majority of my events don't have them. So I just have taken on this kind of lone wolf. I have a bride and groom. I have a wedding. I want the wedding to go great because I want the bride and groom to be happy.
I have a question for you, Jay.
Yes, sir.
You'd mentioned briefly before the broadcast that you got into the yacht rock or not debate with somebody.
I did.
Would you like to tell us about that?
You know what? I'd be happy to, Brian, but I'm afraid that it may upset some of our chat room because I've had it with a few people, but one of those people may be in the chat room.
Oh, that's okay. What's going on?
You know, Mr. Benke, who I love and respect the same way I love and respect you, he and I may have had some differences on certain songs. And to be honest with you, I feel confident because if you say to, you know, you or John, hey man, I love Toto, Africa. The response would be, hey man, great song. when you say that to Christian, what you get is, have you heard Brazen, their version? It's 132 beats a minute. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, it's about 122, 123. He's more the clubby house guy. And by the way,
and that's okay.
but to his credit, back in '99, he had Mix Addicts
Right.
where he was streaming DJs online.
Before
So
they
we're
got
talking
yelled
like
at for doing so.
21 years ago.
Right.
He was doing what DJs are doing now. So he's so kind of Tesla ahead of the curve thing that it gets a little scary. Yeah, no, Christian's not a big yacht rock fan. He'll probably say it.
A lot of people don't like it.
I don't know
not
what's
for
wrong with
everyone.
them.
Well,
How could it not
not
be
for
for
everyone.
everyone? England Dan, John Ford Coley. Dude, I'm wiping away a tear just saying the name. Don't get me going in this. Gonna bring out tears.
We talked about this last week, Sean, when we
Talk
were
amongst yourselves.
doing the hosting the video contest.
Yeah.
And I told you I was going to do video on those.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I did it. I did the video.
Yep. We saw the.
And Jimmy
By the way,
did a
Brian's
graphic
scared
for
to
it.
admit it. He's the biggest Jimmy Buffett fan, and I know he doesn't want to admit it because he feels it'll tarnish his rep. But trust me, you're looking at a pirate right there, Mr. Buffett fan himself, Brian S. Pirate Red.
This is what you call being trolled right now. You ever knew
showing everyone
what
what
that word
happened last
meant?
week.
This is the definition of trolling right now. No, don't
I saw
know.
the hat. I saw what Jimmy did to you. I love the tattoo, by the way. The reverse tramp stamp. I love that.
They were double anchors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's on the lower back?
A mermaid.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Look
there
how
you've got the
fast he
full
was.
show, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the topic and then our little side venture here for the last 3 minutes.
Yes.
And we
How
are now-
Are we still on?
We're just
we
about
on- are we on there?
about out of time for tonight.
Oh no. Oh
Well,
no.
Thank you guys for being with tonight. We had a great crowd, a lot of interaction in the chat room this evening. So
Can
thank
we have
you.
Christian next week?
Yeah, we could certainly do that.
I think it'd be fun.
You know what this is?
But
Because he'll tell Jay to shut up.
Yeah, he will.
yeah, but
Of course, I do, but it doesn't.
I was gonna say,
help.
Are we
He
good
doesn't
on
do
this
it.
yet?
Has
Look
it
at this. I
worked?
got loops and everything going. Look at that fast loop. I can turn the loop off by pressing that button. This is actually our newest that you've heard all the crap about. This it is, the CDJ 3000. And John was kind enough to say that I could mention on Thursday afternoon this week, Pioneer DJ has decided to start a new little show every couple weeks called Happy Hour. So they scoured the world. They went around the planet and they said, we're going to do this whole thing on DJs and have it be a happy hour. And oddly enough, they came up with me as the host. I don't know how
Happy
that
hour?
worked out. I have
Say it ain't
no
so.
idea.
how far down
I
the
just-
list? How far down the list did they have to go?
I apparently a long way because
Yeah.
a lot of people said, no, I can't deal with this. But yeah, Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the Pioneer DJ Twitch, which is simply at Pioneer DJ USA Facebook or Instagram. You'll get the link, and I'll be chit-chatting about that, and I'll be talking about other stuff. Christian's going to be on in a couple weeks, I think. It'll be fun.
Excellent.
It'll be a good time. It'll be something to do for an hour on Thursday. John, you don't have any conflict. There's no shows on
Nope,
Thursday,
no, we don't do.
right?
Nope, we just are Monday, Tuesday now.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I said to them, Monday, Tuesday off limits. I actually did say Tuesday was because I'm like, I'm having too much fun over here. So like, don't even
Yeah, I
try.
gotta do my stuff with Brian and
Well,
John
yeah.
and
I
Brian.
mean, you know, I said, and they said, you know, is it a pay issue? And I said, you can't match what John's paying me. So, you know, right there, they realized, you know,
yes.
and when I find out what that number is,
It's
I'm
gonna
still
be,
not telling them.
It's gonna be huge.
Big.
I can't wait for Jay to be the guy in the old folks' home whose story about shoes he picked to wear that day takes 45 minutes to hear.
Who said that?
No
I don't
idea.
know.
No idea.
Is that a Christian thing?
Yeah, kind
Could
of.
be.
Maybe.
Love him. Love you. Love John. What are you going to say to that?
We're going to wrap
Yeah,
things
let's
up.
hear the negativity now.
DJNTV.com/chill. Go out to the chill room, and that's where everyone's going to head after we're done here tonight. Once again, thank you for being with us this evening, and hopefully you had a good time with it. And we will be back again next week. Go out to the chill room, and we'll catch you there. Good night, everybody.